Hi, I'm David at fDocs. Today I'm going to show you how to use fDocs to design templates to generate documents with CRM data and then combine it with data from SharePoint. First, we're going to create a dataset definition, or a DSD, using fdata. We'll call it quote and we'll make it available for use in fDocs. Data groups are what we call individual sets of data gathered together. First, we're going to add one for the quote details we want. We'll give it a name and we'll specify the type of data. In this case, it's Dynamics CRM. We use CRM views to select the data we want. This makes it easy for designers to gather together the data needed, in this case for a quote. We'll select the entity and then the appropriate view. fData tells us that this view has a condition based on the quote ID. For fData to gather data for a specific quote, we need to add a user entry to receive the required quote ID when a document is requested. This will come from a link in the ribbon or from a workflow setup. We'll add a lookup now for the quote ID. This would not normally be seen by users, but it makes it easier for testing and previewing our data and templates. Next, we're going to add another data group to get the quote products for the quote. Exactly as before, we'll set up a new data group and give it an ID and a name. We'll also pick Dynamics CRM, and as before, we select the appropriate quote and view. We recommend using simple blocks of data like this to build up more complex structures. It makes it much easier to set up and maintain, and is much clearer when it comes to template designing. This time the views conditional field has already been added to our DSD, so we don't need to do anything else. All we need to do now is test the data. We'll select a quote from the lookup that we created earlier, and we click to visualize. The visualize option uses fPanels to display data gathered, so that we can test it before going on to design document templates. Here, we can see that we have all the quote and quote product information that we need to make a quotation document. Next, we'll design our template, but just before that, I want to add a setting to our quote data group that tells the template designer there's only one quote record expected, so we can have all of its fields available to design at the top level of our tag list. Once we've done that, we'll publish our dataset definition to make it available for template designers. Now I'm going to switch to Word to start designing our template. I'm starting with a document that has already been laid out, as this is often easier than starting with a blank page. fDocs will retain all of your styling and your layout whenever documents are generated. First, I'll apply a dataset definition that we've just created, and this will make all the fields from the views available in a tag list on the right. This includes the quote fields shown at the top level, and the quote products available within a set where the plus sign is shown. Now, we just mark the areas where we want data and double click on the field in a tag list that we want to include. We keep marking and tagging to apply our data to the template. We've started from an existing layout, but you can just as easily start from a blank document and build it up at the same time. If there are a lot of fields to choose from, fDocs lets you search and filter to make the list easier. We have two separate processes for data gathering and template design because often they're two different types of people in an organisation. Somebody who knows their way around CRM entities won't necessarily be the best person to design your quality documents, and somebody who knows what they want in a document is not necessarily the right person to define your data. Okay, we've tagged up a lot of the document, so we're going to see how we're doing. We can preview the document at any time. We'll just select a test quote and we'll see the document. This looks good, but we can see that the document has quote details filled in, but there's no address lines 1 and 2, so we'll sort that out now. We'll go back to our template and we just need to mark the line and apply a special tag called remove empty. We'll do this to both lines 2 and 3, and then we'll preview again to see that the lines have been removed. This is a very quick and simple way to clean up a document. As before, we'll select our quote and we'll hit preview and see how it looks. The lines are now taken out and this looks a lot better than it did before. Next, we'll just add the quote product lines. For this, we mark a row in a table that's to be repeated for each product, and we tag it with the plus quote products tag. This tells fDocs to repeat the row for every quote product record. Once we've marked the row, the fields available in the tag list will change to show only those that are appropriate to this point in the document. Any area on a page may be marked with a data group tag to be expanded for each record. For example, it may be a paragraph, or an image tag or a chart. In more complex datasets, we can even nest tables inside one another. We'll start marking and tagging each field in the row, and then we'll tag the total amount at the bottom when we're complete. I'll just add the amount, and then underneath I'll add the total amount. Now we'll go and preview our document again, and we can see that the quote has been filled out properly. All of our word styling and all of our format has been preserved just as we designed it. A key feature of fDocs is the ability to put conditions around any block or section of text in our template. Here we have a paragraph that we only want to apply to quotes with more than 3 lines. We mark the whole paragraph, including any carriage returns we want to leave out, and we click on the Compare Special Tags at the bottom of our list. We just need to fill in our dialog with the condition that we want to apply to this paragraph. The paragraph will only show if the number of quote products is greater than 3. Now, we'll preview our document again, but this time we'll take a different quote that we know has only 2 lines, and we'll be able to see that the paragraph has disappeared. Just to prove it, we'll preview again, and this time pick our original test quote, which we know has more than 3 lines. And we can see here that the paragraph is back again. Now, I'm just going to finish off the footer of our quote with the appropriate tags from the list. I'm just putting in the owner, the effective from, and the effective to. Now, I'm just going to add in some CRM quote product data with some additional product information from an external source. For this, I want to go back to fData. I'm going to add another data group to get data from a SharePoint list view. To do this, we go to Add a Data Group, give it an ID and a name, and this time from our data group types list, we're going to pick SharePoint. In a similar way to Dynamics CRM, we need to tell our data group the type of data that we need to select. I'm going to select the site, the list, and the view where the data is held. In this case, I have a product site with a product details list. If I'd stopped at this stage, we would have another data group, and we could show this as a table in our document. But instead, what I want to do is add fields from this external data group onto the corresponding quote that we got from Dynamics CRM. To do this, I simply tell fData to join this data group onto the quote product data group and on which field it is to be matched up. That's all we need to do. We can add any data from any other source in this way and combine it with CRM data. One other thing here is that I don't really want to see this data group in the template designer in its own right, so I'm going to mark it as being internal data. This will leave it off of the tag list, but its fields will be available within quote products. We'll publish our DSD to make changes available, and then we'll go back to Word, and in Word we just need to refresh our DSD to pick up the changes to the tag list. Now we're going to insert a new column and include the stock weight. We can now see that the new fields are in a tag list. As far as the person designing the template is concerned, they are just more fields in the quotes products. We'll insert our stock weight tag into the new cell, and then we'll do a preview. We'll be able to see that the stock weight has been added to each quote product, even though that the data came from a SharePoint list view and wasn't inherently available within Dynamics CRM. Finally, we'll go back to our template designer now, and the last step is to publish the template to make it available for end users and deployment. Once we hit upload, we're done.